I'd like to call this regular board meeting of the Lammersville Unified School District Board of Education to order at 7 o'clock. I'd like to remind everyone to please silence or turn off your cell phones. I should turn my microphone on, that might help. Please silence or turn off your cell phones. This meeting is being recorded. And at this time, I would like to call Principal Busatil with Lammersville Elementary forward to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, good evening. Thank you for having us here with you today. I actually have Travis Leos, one of our 5th grade students, and he is going to lead you in the pledge and then have a short presentation for you.
Welcome.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Hello and good evening, everybody.
Good
My
evening.
name is Travis Leos, and I attend Lammersville Elementary School. Today I'll be sharing some of the new things happening around our school campus. As you may or may not know, our student library had received an Infinity Lab addition over the past summer. We have been enjoying our 3D printers, and we have been creating models using our Chromebooks that have been installed to our Infinity Lab. Students are also, here's a model of one of the things.
You printed that on a 3D printer?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Students are also allowed to use our Makey-Makeys, which makes everyday objects that conduct electricity into a keyboard. So this is the Makey-Makey, and what you do is you plug it into your computer, and then you use alligator clips to connect these to these little ports in here, and then you hook the other end on to anything that conducts electricity. So let's just say a banana. And you can use it for like a touchpad for a piano app. And you could use the bananas as a keyboard. And
Very cool.
to piano. There's also our rockin' blocks, which are blocks that can create remote-controlled vehicles and many more things like buildings, train tracks, or pulleys, like this pulley I had created here at our school. And then our Infinity Lab also has Autobots, where students make racetracks or patterns for little robots, like these, to follow. And we use apps on our iPad to control these, and they're hooked up to special iPads, and they're all numbered. What's good about our school is that students are able to come during their recess time to our library and Infinity Lab, and we also have Chromebooks for students to use for their classwork. We also have a wide selection of electives for our 6th through 8th grade students, such as our drama program, our agriculture elective. We also have our Project Lead the Way Robotics, and our Project Lead the Way Medical Detectives. We also have our Project Lead the Way Design and Modeling, and we have had this multimedia arch where students can create stop motion and photography and video productions. And also we are hoping to do this next year. Our Tinker Lab, where students will create things that I had previously mentioned about our Infinity Lab, such as our Rockin' Box, our Autobots, our 3D printer, stuff like that. Now onto our fundraisers. We sell Dippin' Dots every Friday after school for $4. We also have Smentzels in the office for $1. We also had finished our Seas Candy a few months ago, back in December, I think. These fundraisers help for referee fees during our basketball and volleyball season. They also help pay for Student of the Month luncheons, where students enjoy pizza and a dessert with our awesome principal, Ms. Busatil. Students are chosen for this for upholding one of Lammersville's 6 pillars of character. Thank you for taking the time to let me come up here to speak tonight. Does anyone have a question that I may answer?
What's your favorite thing in the Infinity Lab?
Probably a 3D printer, because you can
It's
create
pretty
things.
cool, huh?
What else have you made on the 3D printer besides the dragon?
I haven't got to anything yet, but we have this thing where students are allowed to write their ideas down and put it in this box where they will be chosen at the end of the day. And whatever they choose, the principal will see it and she'll approve of it and they'll print it out.
So what's your next idea?
I don't have any yet, but I'll think of something.
Nice job. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. If you guys would like to leave at this point, you're more than welcome to do so. If you'd like to stay and enjoy our,
Fun-filled.
exactly,
Still have a little bit of homework.
Thanks for coming. Have a great evening.
roll call, please.
Matthew Balzerini.
Absent.
Colin Clements.
Here.
Ann Goodrich. Here. Sharon Lampel.
Here.
David Pombo.
Here.
Simran Gunsi.
Here.
Moving on to item 4, recognition, Mountain House High School speech and debate students.
Mr. Harrison, we'd like you to come up and introduce our guests.
Ms. McCoy is here this evening with her speech and debate students. They recently traveled across the country to Kentucky, right? And competed nationally. And first of all, I'd like to recognize Ms. McCoy. It takes a lot of hours and a lot of work to support a speech and debate team that we have at the high school. They are very accomplished, and they have many accolades coming their way already, and I'm sure more in the future. So here's Ms. McCoy.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for letting me run the speech and debate team. I love my job. It is the coolest thing in the world. If you, I don't even know where to begin. Yes, let's first start with Arshita Sandaparthy. She and her partner, Pasapung Chai, just went to Kentucky last weekend, where we competed at the Tournament of Champions. In order to get to the Tournament of Champions, you have to be in the elite of the entire country. And quite honestly, it's international. The Taiwanese teams, Korean teams, and Chinese teams were there as well. So they placed 7th. I had sent out the email saying that they were 8th, but after a recounting of the ballots, the young ladies actually won 1 ballot more than we thought. So that's amazing. And Arshita actually took 7th in the country as a recognized individual speaker. So that's an amazing feat. Most dream to go to the TOC, and few get there, especially as a second-year team. So I'm so proud of them. It's ridiculous, like really proud of them. And we did get to stop by the Derby, which was really fun, but we didn't bring you back all hats, sorry. Also, I don't know if you got to come out to the state tournament, but I know that we hosted the state tournament here, and Mr. Clements, we want to say thank you to you for stepping in and being our special janitor for the day.
My
and
pleasure.
a special host judge. It was amazing. We had 1,500 students, 500 adults, 300 community members on campus, and it was a beast of an adventure. But I have to tell you that the reviews have been phenomenal. In fact, I've actually attended 20 state tournaments in my career as an educator, and this was the one that I enjoyed the most. And while I could be extremely biased in that, in the sense that we put it on, the truth of the matter is our community came together in ways that no other state tournament has. We ask for donations of board games and like card games. They brought so many that we had 300. The kids were playing that in their downtime. It was amazing to see them interacting with their coaches and with other teams and truly being a community of competitors instead of just competitors. We had PG&E provide free frisbees for us. We had Dr. I believe his name is Hugh Long. He's here in town. He provided all of the toothbrushes because we gave fun facts, and we actually tied 1,500 facts on every toothbrush and said, "It's the tooth. Debate is amazing." I know, puns, sorry. We had amazing, Blue Diamond supported us and brought out nuts because we were nuts for hosting the tournament, and all sorts of things that just came together as a community. It was amazing to see it in motion, and the reviews have been phenomenal. On top of that, the team took 15th in the state, which is pretty impressive considering that there are only 20 competitors from our team, which is a small number in comparison to large schools. And then out of that, you have Miss Adia Mishra, who's your state champion in humorous interpretation. She did, yeah. it is cutthroat to get to a state champion position, so that's amazing. And then Zed Umar and his partner Ashita, they actually made it to the quarterfinal round of the public forum debate, which is amazing. That's the top 14, but yes. Unable to be here this evening is Jackie Azah and Tanaya Kalapara, and those both were semifinalists in dramatic interpretation and oratorical interpretation, and both ladies are above reproach in their area and field as well. It was a spectacular experience, and I think you got to stop by and wondered why we were talking to walls.
All good. I've talked to walls myself sometimes.
Sometimes they win the argument with me, let's be honest. But it was incredible to see, and it was unbelievable to see all the food trucks come out, and it was just a massive experience. But I got to tell you, I have worked in 3 districts, and I have never seen the caliber of student that Mountain House holds, nor the camaraderie that the community possesses, nor the integrity of your board to step into a pair of janitorial shoes and pull and haul trash for hours, nor was the community of speech and debate more impressed with a place than Mountain House than I've ever seen. I mean, other schools just praised, and to be very honest, you should be checking your inboxes for applications because you all wanted to be here. So I really thank you for giving us this opportunity. It's a different kind of competition, but in my opinion, again, biased, the best in the world. So that's my bit. The kids can talk to you about their experience. Jump up.
Thank you for letting us use Mountain House High School for the state tournament. I had a lot of fun. People would come up to me and they said, "Oh my God, you have the most beautiful campus in the world." And I was like, "I know." So basically they had nothing bad to say, and I have nothing bad to say either, so I agree with them.
So thank you for allowing me and Pasa to be able to go to Kentucky, like a completely other state, in order to compete at such a prestigious tournament. I think that we've learned a lot, and I think it would be really beneficial if like more of our students in the future get the opportunity to go to the same places.
So like Adia and Arshida said, thank you for letting us use the school for our state tournament, also letting us travel. I'd also like to thank you guys for putting up with Coach McCoy this entire year and the past year. I know she really drives a hard bargain, but we, as her students, really do appreciate her willingness to fight for us and also her willingness to be with us and guide us in this program. So thank you very much.
Well, after that introduction, the last thing, I guess, in driving my hard bargain would be, we would love to have you join us on Saturday evening from 6 to 8. We'll be at the Mountain House High School NPR, and we're going to be doing our Sweet Showcase of Success. Sweet, because we're going to offer you free desserts, except for your $5 entry into the door. And then we have a silent auction with some unbelievable options that will help support us to nationals, as we're going to be headed to Fort Lauderdale, Florida in June. We'll be there for 9 days for the national competition with the National Speech and Debate Association, formerly known as the NFL, the National Forensics League. And so we'd love to have you come get some weekends away at wineries or some fantastic hotels at the Westin in San Francisco. There's even a few like camping trips that are glamping trips. We have a whole bunch of stuff, so we'd love to have you come on out and find something fun for yourself, be entertained by our students, see the rap battle that's going to happen between Mr. Feinstein and Mr. Shapsis. That's going to be a throwdown to be remembered. And of course, just watch what our kids do, because it's amazing to see. So we hope to see you there. Any questions I can answer for you?
I would just like to say to the rest of the board and everybody out there that I'm very impressed with everything that you guys have done. Also, I have been to the
Sweet Showcase.
Yes, ma'am. Sweet Showcase of Success in the past. It's very enjoyable, and I would encourage everyone to try to make it out there this Saturday. And all of you thank the board for all we do. We thank you guys for all that you do.
Thank you.
Questions?
Well, I obviously have a comment. Obviously, speech and debate is very near and dear to my heart. You guys are such an incredible group of students, the whole high school, but I am so proud of you. I'm pretty proud of my record, but I can tell you that I was not nearly as good and did not achieve nearly as high a level as you already have. And I am so proud that you're at our school.
Thank you.
But you did have one advantage that I did not have. You have an incredible coach. Thank you so much for the time. I mean, I know what it's like to be a tournament director for, say, 400 students power matched after third round. 1,500 students, that is a ridiculous undertaking. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You students and Coach McCoy keep thanking us, but we need to be thanking you. You make our jobs very easy. It's very easy to say, yes, send them to Kentucky. Yes, send them to Florida, because you're making Mountain House shine. So to the coach, thank you for all of your work, and the students, you are amazing.
No doubt about that. Well, thank you very much. Hopefully we'll see you Saturday night.
You said that was in the multi-use room?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
And if you speech and debaters would like to excuse yourselves at this time and go home and work on homework or something.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, I actually do have a question. Is there any chance that we could hear the state-winning humorous that I could? I'm not asking for it up here, but I would love to come to school and hear it.
Absolutely. She'll be on the stage on Saturday night, too. So if you'd like to see it in the classroom, come on by.
No, I'll be there on Saturday. She's going to do it on Saturday?
Yes, sir.
Very cool.
Absolutely. But it's hilarious, so you'll love it.
Good night.
Thank you. Approval and/or corrections to the agenda.
And we have one correction. We're going to remove or pull action item F. We have a contract question we need to resolve, and we'll bring it back next board meeting.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda approved. Committee reports. District Advisory Committee.
We have not had a meeting since the last one. The next meeting is on Monday, June 4th at 6:30.
Thank you. District English Language Advisory Committee.
Our next and last meeting of the year is tomorrow.
Thank you. Education Extracurricular Committee.
The Education Extracurricular Committee met on April 24th in the Learning Commons at the high school, and we had a fabulous presentation by Ms. Corona's team. Jason Davis presented information to the community about ADHD and executive functioning. Shelley Ryer presented information about specific learning disabilities and how parents could work with their students who have those kinds of needs. And then Kristen Carter presented information about behavioral supports that parents could use in the home and supports that could be used in the classroom as well. It was a very informative presentation. And though the audience was small, the information was fantastic and they were engaged. And there are a lot of resources out there for those parents. So if people weren't able to attend the committee, I encourage you to reach out to the special education team and get the PowerPoints or the handouts from that so that they can get additional information.
Thank you. Facilities Committee. The next Facilities Committee meeting will be held on May 17th at 6:30 here in the boardroom. Policy Committee.
We're solidifying a process and currently reviewing the next batch of policies that should be coming to the board shortly.
Thank you. Safety Committee.
Our next meeting is on May 16th, and I'll take this opportunity now to discuss, there's been some rumblings about safety, and I just want to kind of bring the board up to speed as to where we're at and where we're going. I mean, as all of you know, I'm not sure if the public does, I have over 20 years of experience in public safety as a 911 dispatcher, a police officer, and I'm currently a firefighter. I've been dedicating time and energy towards safety with this district for the last 12 years and will continue to do so. It's very near and dear to my heart. And from working in San Francisco, I know that what it looks like not to be prepared, and I want to make sure that we are prepared. We continue to make strides towards that. But sometimes in the process, there are miscommunications, there's issues with process, and we need to go back to the drawing board. So with the help of Mr. Harrison, we created a tabletop exercise that we presented at the safety committee that was intended to test the administrators and staff and the few parents that come to our meetings every once in a while on a scenario, a real-life scenario that a fire alarm turns into a lockdown situation. I wasn't aware that that was going to be taken back to the schools and implemented immediately, but apparently it was. That's something the district will follow up on. But it's a good drill, and it's a necessary drill. And my goal, and Mr. Harrison has concurred, that we want to make sure that our staff has understanding. They know what to expect from our law enforcement partners, what to expect from our fire service partners. So when an incident occurs, everyone responds appropriately, and there's good communication and coordination from the school site. We are working hard to implement the incident command system. That's a management tool that's nationally recognized now, and it's actually required by government code that all government agencies use them. So that training's in progress, and that's the system that we use to coordinate these drills. That was the intent of the drill, was to utilize the incident command system to have a command structure in place from the school side that can also work with both fire and police when they arrive. And we talked about what their roles and responsibilities would be, what ours would be, and how we would collaborate to resolve the situation. So the drill that took place at Altamont, I stand behind the drill. There may be issues with the way the drill was carried out, but again, growing pains, and we will continue to get better. If there's any questions from the board, I'm happy to answer, and I'm sure and staff as well. But there's been a lot of discussion on Facebook, and what I will say is, when I became a police officer in 2000, our operations were a lot different than they are now in regards to an active shooter situation on the school site. Columbine changed everything, and that was in 1999. So when I became a police officer in 2000, the policy was still establish a perimeter, call the SWAT team, and they will come in and handle the situation. Well, that failed at Columbine, and there was no question about it. And the response took a little while, but by 2002, the training shifted significantly. It was, as soon as there's officers on the scene, move and stop the threat. And that was how I was trained in 2002, and that is still the current standard. I don't know that school employees understand that. I think it's more common knowledge now, but that's been a big change. When I got on this board in 2006, we used code words for lockdown situations. That's been proven since then to be ineffective, and we've shifted. This is a constantly evolving situation. It's completely unfortunate, but it's evolving, and it's the state that we live in, and that you see these kinds of incidents happening on school campuses over and over and over. So we can't have our head in the sand, because the first thing that you hear from every person that's interviewed is, I never thought it could happen here, but it did. And I don't want that to be said here. We need to be prepared. We need to constantly train, constantly talk about it. I've heard experts, because I study this stuff regularly, and I've seen experts that say you need to train students with muscle memory. You need to make sure they know how to respond as well. And I've heard experts say, well, no, if you do that, that's traumatizing. So even the experts are conflicted. We need help in guiding our policies. The safety committee is open to the public. Anyone that would like to come to participate is more than welcome. Our staff encourages it, welcomes it. It's a real good group that works real hard and shares information and shares ideas, and we're trying to establish the best policies that we can. But we know that it's a work in progress, and we know that it's a, for lack of a better term, a moving target, because it's constantly changing. So again, if the board has any questions, I can answer, or I'm sure staff can as well.
Thank you for your comments. I agree with everything you said. During those times, I was a principal. Code words don't work, because I was doing drills, and when I did a blue drill, everybody had to find their binder and what's blue. You don't have time to do that. So we got rid of those a long time ago. I know there are people, I have read Facebook, that thinks the drills are traumatizing. I'd rather have a child get upset during a drill and know what to do in a real emergency. You know, if they get scared, children get scared.
I-
They need to know how to listen to their teacher and do exactly what the teacher is saying during an emergency. I've had emergencies when I was principal, and I was proud of my staff because of the drills that we did. They knew exactly what to do. Thank you, Mr. Belzerini. I
do-
appreciate your expertise.
Thank you.
I do agree with you. The drills are very important, and they do prepare students, and they help them think through situations before they occur, when it's a safe place and they can discuss and debrief with their teachers. I did have one question, and you don't have to answer now, and maybe it's something I should already know, but the situation at Altamont, my question is, and again, it was a drill. And a drill, you're not going to have students running away from campus. But in an actual situation, is our school district policy run, hide, fight, or is it shelter in place?
So I'll give you my answer, and if staff wants to elaborate, please do. But run, hide, fight is a new concept.
Yes.
It's one that we just talked about at the last meeting, that was our homework to the committee, was to go home and to research this so we could talk about it at our next meeting.
Okay.
I don't know that we even have policies that address an active shooter per se. Right now, we have evacuation, shelter in place, and lockdown.
Okay.
Those are our policies, but it's a conversation we have to have, and it's a conversation that we are having.
Okay.
And any input, it will come to the board level eventually for when we do establish a policy. But if there's input, please share it with staff so we can have it at the committee level as well.
Definitely.
And I don't have a question, but a comment. I would like to thank Trustee Balzerini and the rest of the Safety Committee. I know they put a lot of hard work into developing and continue to put a lot of hard work into developing future plans and future ideas. And I would also like to reiterate something he said, and that is the committee meetings are open to the public. If you've got input for the Safety Committee, come to the meeting. Don't go on Facebook and bellyache about whatever it is, because that's not really effective. If you come to a meeting, you can talk to the people who know what's going on with the committee, and if you have an idea that's a good idea, fine. Thank you, sir.
And I just, if I could add one more thing, just since you mentioned Facebook again, is that even reading that thread, it was going in opposite directions.
Yes.
There's a lot of different opinions on how things should be done. And there was a comment that, we should meet with law enforcement, and we do every month. Law enforcement comes and we have input. And I will say that I was a big advocate to hire our school resource deputy. And in doing so, one of my hopes was that the focus would, he would spend time focused on prevention and policy and moving forward. And since he's been here, he hasn't had a chance, because all he's been doing is reacting to situations that people believe don't happen in this community, but they do. So maybe this board needs to talk about an additional resource deputy that can help us alleviate some of that load, because I know he's, I don't want to say overwhelmed, but he's got a lot on his plate.
Or maybe a consultant or something. Maybe, I don't know if we need someone, full-time. But I was very pleased with the Facebook thread this time, because there were people who were going on it saying, you know what? School knows what they're doing. I trust them. If my child got frightened, it's okay. I'll follow up at home. So thank you to those parents who were reasonable. There were some parents who were concerned for their children, and they have that right. But we have to move ahead in what we feel will keep our students the safest.
As unfortunate as it is.
And the committee meetings that two of my colleagues have mentioned, that's why we announce the dates at these meetings, so the public can come to them.
And I don't want anyone to misinterpret what I said about Facebook. Everyone has the right to go on Facebook and say whatever they like. That's not the point. The point is, we have meetings for the specific purpose of safety and wellness and all the rest of these committee meetings. And if you have input, please come to the meetings and share it with us. Because we, as hard as we may try, we can't read everything on Facebook. And it's helpful to have a face to put to the comments and see how widespread those feelings are. Moving on. Go ahead.
I've been patiently, because there's a lot of comments. I did want to, support the fact that we do need to have drills so that we are prepared, and also commend the district, because not being an expert, right? What I read from the email was, hey, we were trying to do the right thing for the right reasons, and it didn't come out, we clearly have, some thought and some changes that we need to make and some guidance that we need to provide. And, while going through that was painful, right? I would much rather go through that and amend a process and have the right process in place if we, God forbid we ever need it, than to not have it and not have the process in place. So I really appreciated, instead of arguing, it's just, hey, there was a better outcome that we wanted to achieve, and we're gonna focus on the future and not, kind of relive the past and make the future better. And that's all I, as a parent, can ask.
I do want to say something. I want to thank the parents for their comments, because we can't know what every child at every school is feeling and thinking and how they're reacting to these situations. And so giving us as board members their feedback is essential for us to do our jobs and to find out and to know what's happening at each school. My children go to the high school. This, actually led to a conversation, and they said, we didn't have an active shooter drill at our high school, Mom. And I said, oh, okay. But these kinds of conversations, I don't know what's happening at the elementary school because my children don't go to those schools anymore. So having parents from the elementary schools reach out when they have concerns is very important to us as board members. So I want to encourage parents to continue to share their concerns with us, especially when it comes to student safety and student wellness, because that's one way that we can do our jobs. And we are here to represent them. And so if they have concerns and they cannot attend our committee meetings, they need to make sure that they let us know their concerns.
I'd also like to agree, when I was little, I used to be scared of earthquake drills. I thought they were the scariest thing, but there was also, after a while, after having them, there was a sense of security, knowing that if there was an earthquake, we would know what to do. And in the case of an active shooter, we should have the same thing. We should be prepared. It could be scary at first, during the first couple of drills, but after a while, you get used to it, and then you feel safer knowing that if this were to happen, I at least know what to do. So
You bring up a very good point, and if I can just add on that there's a state mandate that we run a fire drill monthly, and that came from legislation based on a fire that occurred in 1950, where a teacher thought that it was just a drill, ignored the fire alarm, and several students and that teacher perished. Since then, there have been 0 deaths from a fire. Yet, how many students have we lost to an active shooter? And there's no state mandate for that.
Right. And I appreciate Trustee Goodrich's comments. When the parents give us the feedback, it helps us to plan how are we going to train the students. Maybe the first few times we talk them through it and then do a surprise drill later if it's frightening children beyond a level of acceptance. But like Trustee Gunsey said, they may get frightened the first few times and then they know how. I still freak out at earthquake drills because I'm not a Californian. But this informs us how to move forward. So the positive and the negative comments are appreciated.
And I would just like to add something to what Trustee Goodrich said, and that is we do need input, we do need feedback, and we do understand that not every parent can come to every committee meeting. Some can't come to any of them because of their circumstance, but it's much more effective, and we do get some emails, but it's much more effective to email the board than to put stuff on Facebook and expect that we will see everything that goes on Facebook.
This is true.
Moving on, the Wellness Committee. We have not had a meeting since our last board meeting, but we will be having character counts trainings on May 31st and June 1st. Governing Board reports. Madam Student Trustee Gunsey.
Thank you. So senior award night was yesterday, which I sadly couldn't attend due to, like Ms. McCoy said, AP cram season. However, swim had their last championship, which the students were very excited about, and they have sections this week. Our school had prom last weekend at the Oakland Rotunda, and it went very well. They had over 300 students attending, varying from seniors to freshmen. The venue was stunning, and it was a unique experience compared to last year's prom. Also, ASB elections were last week, which leads me to introducing our new ASB Academics Commissioner, Ruxar Mohammed. She's sitting right over there. She'll be taking over my position in the upcoming fall in leadership and the board, as I will be graduating this month and attending UC Santa Cruz this upcoming fall.
Congratulations.
It's been a pleasure serving with you. Thank you very much.
I had a great time,
And
too.
congratulations.
Thank you.
And congratulations to our new student trustee. Welcome. Thank you. Trustee Goodrich.
So as I reported, I attended the Education Committee meeting on April 24th, and that's all I have to report at this time.
Thank you.
Excuse me, and I did attend the Our Town performance, the final performance in our lovely new theater, which was my first time being there, and I was truly impressed at the quality of the production and the talent that our students possess. It was a very, very wonderful production and made me sort of transformed it reminded me why I love the theater. So I was really happy that I could attend.
Thank you. Trustee Clements.
Since the last governing board meeting, I managed to catch the last half of a varsity baseball game at Dale Hansen Field. It was my first baseball game that I've managed to get to. I did see the high school drama department's performance of Our Town on Saturday, April 21st. My family saw the noon showing, and I liked it so much, I actually went back at the 7 o'clock showing. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was, like Trustee Goodrich, it was my first performance of any kind that I'd seen in the brand new theater, so it was very cool. I had the opportunity to help out at the California State High School Speech Association State Tournament, which everyone knows was hosted here at Mountain High School. As was discussed, our students did outstandingly well. I helped out in a number of capacities. I judged the Lincoln Douglas debate as well as policy debate, and I was honored to be asked to judge the final round of Lincoln Douglas for all the marbles in the state. It was a very intimidating experience, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I also, of course, had the opportunity to attend the senior award ceremony at Mountain House High School with President Pombo, Trustee Lampel, and Dr. Nicholas. I was amazed at the number of awards that our students received. It was, I was going to say it was ridiculous, but it wasn't ridiculous. It was excellent. It was super. It was just incredible. We have a great group of students from K through 12, not just our seniors, but all of our students. They never cease to amaze me. That's it.
Thank you. Trustee Balzerini.
CSBA's been keeping me really busy. I'm on 3 different committees, one of them being legislative committee. So with a full-time legislature, there's a lot of bills that we are reviewing. And I want to make sure all of you know about the Leadership Institute that CSBA is holding in San Francisco, July 13th and 14th. I have been asked to sit on a panel regarding safety. And CSBA is interested in the model that we're using. And I'm going to be discussing that and then some different safety aspects that we've ICS and been talking about. So if you guys are able to attend, swing by and check it out.
Thank you. Trustee Lampel.
So, Madam Student Representative Gunsey, we heard your name mentioned several times last night. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I've been reporting events here in Lammersville to the Mountain House Community Services District, and they truly appreciate the connection with us, and I'm hoping to continue to build that connection as time goes on. On April 19th, I had the pleasure of attending Bethany's production of The Lion King Jr. The students and the adults put a great deal of work into the play, and it was just as cute as what we saw here the night before. The kids did a great job. On April 27th, I had the pleasure to attend the closing performance of Our Town with my esteemed colleague. What a great way to initiate our community to live theater. The students were incredible, and the amount of work that went into the production was obvious. So kudos to everyone involved. Last night, I was honored to attend the Mountain House High School graduation awards ceremony. You all know I've been in education for a very long time. I have never seen such an overabundance of awards and students who I want to touch base with every single one of them in 10 years and find out what they're inventing and what diseases they're curing. And this is an impressive bunch of kids. We are so lucky to have them as our students. Congratulations to Trustee Clements on the achievements of his senior, Chase, who was called up several times last night. And that is my report.
Thank you. And I get to go last, so it sounds like I'm just repeating everything everyone else has already said. My family and I had the pleasure of attending the opening night of Our Town, a production by the Mountain House Drama Department. Chris Hickson and his drama students did a fantastic job. It was the first drama production in our new theater, and it was very, very enjoyable. I participated in the DARE graduation at Lammersville Elementary. I always enjoy seeing how enthusiastic our fifth graders are to participate in this program. Officer Clayton has taken over for Officer Abercrombie while he recovers from surgery and did a fine job. I, along with Trustees Lampel, Trustee Clements, and Superintendent Nicholas, attended the Senior Awards Night, and I was very proud to see all the accolades that our seniors received. Very impressive. Earlier today, I sat on an interview panel for K-8 principal positions in the district. Upcoming events. At the high school, every 15 minutes will be May 5th, May 3rd, and May 4th. High school dance production will also be in the evening on May 3rd and 4th. Mountain House concert band competition at Cal State Stanislaus on May 5th. The Sweet Showcase of Success, which was mentioned earlier, will be on May 5th. Lammersville Elementary Open House will be on May 8th. Lammersville Elementary production Murder at the Malt Shop will be May 9th. And open house at all Mountain House K-8s will be held on May 10th. And the Mountain House High School Spring Concert will be held in the theater also on May 10th. And that concludes my report. Item 8, receiving of public comments. The board shall give members of the public an opportunity to address the board either before or during the board's consideration of each agenda item. At a time so designated on the agenda, members of the public may also bring before the board matters that are not listed on the agenda at a regular meeting. The board may refer such a matter to the superintendent or designee or take it under advisement, but shall not take action at that time. The board may place the matter on the agenda of a subsequent meeting for discussion or action. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item, and the board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. I see no red cards nor anyone waving their arms in an attempt to speak, so we'll...
We do have one.
Oh,
He
we
didn't
do.
give the card in, yeah.
I apologize. Robert Peterson, you'd like to come forward?
Hello, I am just going to be representing a few parents that we know of, and as well as me and my wife and I. There's a letter that's been written that I'd like to read you very quickly, and hopefully it'll address majority of what we're talking about. My arms are getting longer, so I need these. So, dear Board, Assistant Superintendents, and the LUSD directors and staff. I'm writing this letter as a concerned parent over the treatment and lack of discipline to allow my child to feel safe at school. Recently, my son went to science camp with these sixth graders. While he was there, my son was harassed and issues were not dealt with for the entire week. This all started with a counselor who made it clear to his cabin that he did not want to attend school, so he signed up to be a counselor, and he also made it apparent that he didn't want to be there at camp either. Several issues came up during the week that were never resolved that involved my son. This is anywhere from his notebook being stolen, pages being ripped out after he was asked and said not to, after the other person was asked not to do this, walking across his bed with their shoes, staying on his bunk, and not leaving when they were asked to leave, or letting him be left alone when he asked to be left alone. This ended Friday. My son was being pushed as he was telling them firmly to leave him alone. This was this past Friday. This action ended in somewhat pulling on him and tackling by a numerous amount of students. There was 3, and I have names, and I won't mention them here. Both of these were, one of which I do know is an Altamont student. The teacher walked into all this, commended the students for tackling my son. Without even asking what exactly had happened, and my son was emotionally destroyed in all, I've never seen him this bad in all the long as I've known it in all his life. He has been to several camps, has never cried himself to sleep, and he did at camp because he was not supported and discipline was not issued. This is just one situation, and this has been going on for quite some time. This picking on, I call it picking on, other people like to call it bullying. I come from the old school ways. It's a natural thing in life to be picked on, and you get over it. This came to a situation, an altercation, where he basically followed my rules. If they touch, hit, and you can't get out of the situation, you're definitely going to have to fight back eventually. Otherwise, he's going to get picked on for the rest of his school years. And this has been going on for a couple of years with him. I guess he lost it. Now, the discipline action of that school, what happened is my son has been suspended for 3 days. The other student involved from the same school was not. I thought the rules were they both go. That's what I was told. This situation we need to get resolved. We need to look into it deeper. Yes, I have talked to principal. I've got some, ran out of time. So I will try to come back and continue this another time.
Thank you for your comments. Dr. Nicholas?
Someone will be contacting you, sir.
Thank you. Consent items for consideration. Governing Board meeting minutes, regular meeting, April 18th. Ratification of contracts under $25,000. Ratification of resignations. Update on the 2017-2018 fundraisers. Ratification of school-sponsored overnight trips. Acceptance of donations, purchase of a Dell Optiplex 7050 computer, $1,779.26 for Lammersville Elementary School Multimedia Lab from Lammersville School Foundation, and 33 computers for Mountain House High School Computer Science Program from Delta College.
I'll move for approval of consent items as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 10, District Administrative Reports, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Nicholas?
Yes, I have a couple of short announcements. First of all, the second interim report has been turned back from the San Joaquin County Office of Education with a positive certification. So I want to thank our CBO, Alvina Kaiser, and her team in the Business Services Department. Positive certification means we can pay our bills throughout this year and the outgoing 2 years, which is the way schools need to be funded so we can run our programs and keep taking care of our kids. So congratulations to all of us. Well done.
Thank you very much.
So we just got this. We had a young lady, Tanaya Kalapara, who is a national medal winner from the 2018 Scholastic Art and Writing Awards. And she submitted to their contest a piece of poetry. It was one of 350,000 works of art and writing. And in order to get to the national level and to be recognized at this level, you have to be in the top 1%. So she was awarded the top award, and in doing so, she gets to go to the world-famous Carnegie Hall on June 7th and to participate in a showcase at Parsons School for Design at the New School and Pratt's Institute Pratt Manhattan Gallery in New York City. So not only did she do something cool and help keep the Lammersville Mountain House High School thing rolling out there across the country, but she's going to have a great learning experience and go to one of the world's greatest cities and see it in all its glory. So congratulations to Tanaya. That's awesome.
Wow.
Wow, that's amazing.
And then, because I don't need my glasses for this part, I was at the construction meetings today, and we've had a kind of an emergence of the buildings from the plastic wrap. So when you walk onto the campus, you can see it's way closer to there than you can see from the street. So I took a couple of pictures on the outside and then a couple from the inside, so you can see that the inside's further along than the outside. So these are a couple of shots on the outside. You can see walkways going in. I thought this was a pretty cool view out to the California Coastal Range, I believe is what that's called. And the houses just outside that window, so you know, are a new model with a new builder in the south side of C. That's the second or third one going in, so we're going to have lots of building. On the left is a science lab from two different perspectives, so you can kind of see where that's at. And then this is a baseball field, or actually softball field, because that's a softball backstop. But they're going to be hydro seeding in the next week. So that basically they take this goo and shoot it out with the stuff in it, and it looks kind of a limey green. And then the sun and some water, and all of a sudden it turns into grass in about 3 weeks. So I'm not thick grass is not what I'm promising. I'm promising little grass strandules that will turn a color. And that is just a play area for little people. And so that gives you kind of a real perspective. Hanson is definitely on to our timeline. The first two buildings we will have for sure in what we've promised. And the second classroom wing and multi-use room will come in earlier than we had announced a couple of months ago. So we're real happy with the progress.
I drove by it for the first time last night because I commute in the other direction, and it was the first time I saw it without the plastic wrap. Very impressive.
That's my report.
Thank you. District Maintenance and Operations Report, Mr. LeGrand.
Good evening. I don't have why is this so tall? Anyways.
There's a lever underneath to the left that if you squeeze it, it'll go down.
I don't have a lot to report since our last meeting. I'm still working on our summer projects, all the stuff I've been mentioning over the last few meetings. The guys are getting ready for high school graduation and work on our project there and some of the other promotions that are coming up at the other schools. Attended the first Hanson opening meeting on Monday the 23rd. I did a couple site walks with some user groups that want to use our schools on the 19th and yesterday. The cameras are going well. Wickland and Bethany are pretty much done. They're at Altamont right now. They took the last 2 days off. They'll be back at Altamont tomorrow pulling wire. Cameras are up and running. Talked to Sean, really happy with what he sees and how it's working, so that's good news. I missed the construction meetings today because I was at a school campus safety and security workshop in Stockton from 11 o'clock to about 5 o'clock. Then we were cameras, access control, planning, all that kind of stuff. So about 5-6 hours doing that. So that's where I was this afternoon.
So some great ideas are coming to our safety committee?
Yes, I have a few ideas, and they have a bunch of different stuff, and I have the agenda right here, so I saved it, so I'll discuss it with the owner one-on-one next time. So that's pretty much all I have. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
11, action items. A, consider approval of 2017-2018 intra-district transfer requests.
So moved.
Before a staff report.
You have a staff?
Second.
None.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, consider approval of 2018-2019 outgoing interdistrict transfer requests. Staff report?
None.
Move to approve 2018-2019 outgoing interdistrict transfer requests.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, consider approval of memorandum of understanding between Lammersville Unified School District and the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Department for School Resource Deputy Services from July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2021. Staff report?
This is one of the best things that we've done. We are very fortunate to have a high-quality SRD, and we enthusiastically support moving this on for another 3 years.
I'll move for approval of the MOU between Lammersville Unified School District and San Joaquin County Sheriff's Department for School Resource Deputy Services from July 1, 2018 through June 30, 2021.
I'll second with a question. Is the sheriff still covering half the cost?
Yes, and there was no cost increase.
Thank you.
Further questions or comments by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, consider approval of 2018-2019 District Safe Schools Plan. Staff report?
Yes, this is the district plan included with the site plans. I did want to acknowledge to the board that there was a typographical error with the spelling of my name in the one of the school reports. That's been corrected via email. But this is the culminating event of a lot of hard work from the school sites and our district and safety committee.
I'll move to approve 2018-19 district safe school plans.
Second.
Questions or comments by the board?
I just want to thank Mr. Harrison. Although the requirement for all sites is not required till next year, he was able to get it done this year, so thank you very much.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item E, consider approval to renew the Child Development Center agreement at Wickland Elementary School for 2018-2019. Staff report?
It's a long-standing relationship. We have a good partnership, and please, we recommend approval.
Move to renew the Child Development Center agreement at Wickland Elementary School for 2018-2019.
Second.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
That won't change the contract whatsoever. I know this is a long-standing thing, and they take the contract and they just change the years each time. But why is the installation of the building still in the contract when the building was installed years ago? I should have emailed you that.
That's a
I'm
very
sorry.
good question. We will remove that.
Maybe it'll come out
Again,
next year. It
long-standing.
doesn't matter because the building's already there.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I understand F has been removed to bring back later.
Correct.
Item G, consider approval of Brain Champs Montessori agreement for before and after school care at Hanson Elementary School 2018 through 2020. Staff report?
Yeah, I have an updated memo that's on the desk. There was a tense change to make sure that the meaning was this is a future, not the present, on the memo verbiage. In terms of the action item, this is a new relationship, and there's a private preschool being built in the Hanson Village. At least there's a sign that says they're going to do that. This starts the relationship with the group to provide before and after school care, and we'll grow that relationship as things go along, and we have no idea on a timetable for if they're going to build a building or not.
Just a quick question. Sure. Forgive me for not noticing it. I just thought of it now. Do we have in this policy, in this agreement, like we have in the others, where they have to follow all the board policies? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I had a question also. I noticed in all of the contracts that the contract starts in August and ends in June. Do they not have access to the buildings in June and July?
If they're not operating a program, no.
So they don't go at all?
That is
Okay.
correct.
That's what I figured. Okay, thank you. I'll move for approval of Brain Champs Montessori agreement for before and after school care at Hanson Elementary for 2018 through 2020.
Second.
Further questions or comments by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item H, consider approval of the 2018-2019 food services agreement for the National Schools Lunch Program between Mountain House Elementary School District and Lammersville Unified School District. Staff report?
Yeah, this allows us to continue our longstanding relationship with the Mountain House District over on Mountain House Road, I think it is, make sure that they get their food service needs taken care of.
A quick question, how many kids do they have now? It's less than 30, right?
That's correct, that's still,
Really
yes.
low,
Wow.
really low. Move to approve 2018-19 food services agreement for the National School Lunch Program between Mountain House Elementary School District and the Lammersville Unified School District.
I'll second.
Further questions or comments by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item I, consider approval of 2018-2019 Governing Board meeting calendar. Staff report?
Every year, we present one as a plan for the next year. This is our version.
I'm going to reduce your blood pressure and move for approval of the 2018-19 Governing Board meeting calendar.
Second.
Questions or comments by the board?
I do have a question. So, and it's not going to change this one, but this one does not include the special meeting that we have in, that's correct? It does not, or it does?
It does not include the special board meeting that we do in June.
And since we know we're going to do it, I would recommend next year we go ahead and calendarize that special meeing, so it's on the calendar. Oh, it is on there?
No, it's for regular meetings.
It says,
So as I understand, Trustee Clements, you're just suggesting that since we know we have one that we always do the week before that we add that special board meeting as a placeholder.
Make it a regular meeting.
well, no,
Well,
it says
it does
governing board, regular governing board meetings and scheduled special meetings, right? So I'm like, we know
I
we're
see
going to
that.
do it. That way we can get it on the calendar. Everybody knows we're going to have it because we know we're going to give you that. You're welcome. But I'm not proposing that we change this calendar. I'm just, next year, let's add it.
Okay.
I think we have a motion in a second.
Further questions or comments by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item J, consider approval of contract with Roblin Contracting for District Warehouse Building Design and Procurement not to exceed $116,120. Staff report?
Yeah, so in order to have a metal building, you have to procure it. We had one bidder, it was Roblin. We're recommending that they do that so they can put the metal together so that we can hire a contractor to put the metal into a building at some point this summer.
Move to approve the contract with Roblin Contracting for District Warehouse Building Design and Procurement not to exceed $116,000, $116,120.
I'll second.
Questions or comments by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 12, information and discussion items. A, promotion and graduation ceremonies. Staff report?
We have gone through cabinet and divvied up who's going where, and we wanted to give the board an opportunity to coordinate their calendars and figure out what schools, the K-8 schools they want to go to before we all head over to the high school.
I can go wherever you need me.
I would like to go to Bethany.
I can go wherever.
Same here.
Do you have a preference, President Pombo?
No, I'm easy.
I think I've never been to Cuesta, so I wouldn't mind going there.
All right.
I don't think I've ever been to Bethany or Lammersville, but I can go to either one. But you know what? How about Lammersville? I've never been to Lammersville, so.
So that leaves Altamont and Wickland.
And Bethany.
And Bethany?
No, I said I was going to go to Bethany.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I'm glad I switched it to Lammersville then.
You did that on purpose.
I was vetoed.
I'll go to Wickland.
All right.
Never do that.
I suppose I'll go to Altamont then. That was easy enough.
I'm an idiot. What can I say?
Yes, we're going to high school, yes, definitely.
Excited to see you all.
We're excited to see you graduate.
I would like to bring up something since we are discussing promotion and graduation ceremonies, and I would like to see a discussion item come before the board at a future board meeting discussing possible changes to our graduation ceremony calendar so that we can possibly avoid some of the issues with people that have eighth graders and seniors at the same time and those sorts of things. I have no idea what the cure is to this. I know there are different possibilities of having graduations on separate days or different things. I would just, without having any suggestion, I would like to have it brought back as a discussion item in the future.
I think we should.
To explore the possibilities and see what we can come up with.
If I may, Mr. President, the one thing I would recommend is however the board's discussion turns out, probably need to lock in place. I mean, we tried a couple of different models. There's nothing wrong with saying, well, we like this or that. But as time passes, the prevailing wind is going to be one, and there will be a counter wind against it. So I think once we've established and we've experimented a little bit, once we lock one in, we need to kind of keep it there so that people just know that, okay, high school graduation's on this night and K-8s are this night. But when you're new, then you have to try some things out before you do it. So if we have the discussion and we get direction, I think we ought to look at it from a long-standing point of view as opposed to let's try something.
I agree. And as I said, I don't know what the answer is, and I know that regardless of what we come up with, everyone isn't going to be happy with whatever it is. But I think we can explore the options, and if the best option is staying the same, then so be it. But I would like to explore the possibilities.
Yeah, and I agree with Superintendent Nicholas. We did exactly that at work, and while everybody's not happy with it, everyone knows when the eighth grade graduations are and when the high school graduations are.
Thank you. Item B, independent study policy. Staff report?
So staff brought forward a board policy AR around limitations to the number of independent study contracts per child during the lifetime of a child being in school K-12, TK-12. Some staff did research and looked into what I was told is a number of districts. And the recommendation last year was to limit that to 3. We've gone back and looked for the information that was collected during that time, and there's not a lot of information there to substantiate our thinking behind the 3 or the limitation. So at this point in time, we want to bring it forward and say that independent study, we've limited it to 3. There's no comprehensive research to say that was an amazing research effort. I think that there was some good work done, but we don't have anything to back up why we did that.
I would just like to say that, to me, 3 instances over potentially 14-year career seems like too few. To me, it seems like the kids, in many cases, the parents are going to take the kids out of school if they're going to take them out of school. It's not going to matter what our policy is, and depriving those students of having independent study while they're out of school, I'm not sure is the best plan. I know that we don't want to say, sure, take your kids out as much as you want, and we'll send homework for them. But on the other hand, I don't know that limit is appropriate. I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
So I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. There is no replacement for the student with the teacher in front of them in the classroom. Kids go to school 180 days a year. Do we get ADA for independent study?
We do.
Yes, we do.
If the work is completed, they'll
If the
receive
work is
ADA.
completed. And very often the work is not completed, and that work is not teaching, it's reviewing.
And I will respectfully disagree with your characterization of what I said. What I said was not, it's just as good as the kids.
No, I didn't mean to say that you said that.
In
Yeah.
front of a teacher. I wish all the kids could be in class 180 days, but my point is, a lot of parents, a lot of family situations are such that they're going to take the kids out of school, whether it's for vacation, for religious reasons, whatever it is, they're going to take the kids out of school, whether we say they can or not. And if we limit their ability to have something, maybe it's not as good as being in the classroom, but something to continue their education while they're out of school, I'm not sure that's the best way to go about it.
And let me clarify, I was only disagreeing with the number, that's all, not your other comments.
My recommendation would be that we set a limit of 3 with an opportunity to appeal. So that if there was a situation where a student needed to go out of the country or be on independent study for some unusual reason, say, for example, they've used up their 3, and then they find themselves having to go out of the country for a death in the family, or they find themselves needing to use an independent study for some unusual reason that couldn't have been foreseen. Then they have the opportunity to appeal to the board and ask for an additional independent study during their career, and we can agree or disagree at that time. But that way that puts sort of a limit on how many times they can request, and it makes parents think about, oh, gee, I'm taking my kid out again. Let me think about this. It puts a sort of a limit on it, and makes parents start to think about how many times. Because I agree with Mrs. Lampel, with Trustee Lampel, that these students, when they take independent study, they take a lot of work with them, but there is no one there to explain to them the work. So the work either is explained by the parents in a good situation, or the work that's provided is review. And so they fall behind when they're missing school, unfortunately, which means they're not prepared when they come back for where the class has gone. 3 times over the course of 14 years is a lot of falling behind. If you continue to fall behind 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, even one summer of not reading, it's been shown, if you stop reading books for one summer, you fall behind a grade and a half. So think about how many times this is happening. It's really going to impact those students. So I think if they really need another time, then they need to come and talk to us about why they need that other time. And we can say, okay, well, in that instance, okay, you took it for these reasons, and those were valid reasons, and this one is a valid reason too, and you have perfect grades, and you've done really well, and you're able to continue your studies. Or you're failing all of your subjects. How do you think that this is going to help you? We need to take it on a case-by-case basis.
I like that idea very much because it would limit the ones that are asking for an independent study to just go on a vacation because that's when they want to go. I also want us to remember, one of the reasons why I'm advocating for a limit, and I really like Trustee Goodrich's idea, this is a huge burden on the teachers to prepare this. It takes a lot of work from our teachers who are already overworked. Teachers' job is very difficult and time-consuming, and that's another reason, having been a teacher and a principal, why I like the limit, but I do like the ability to appeal for an additional.
Go
ahead.
I had kind of probably a reverse thought that when we say 3, to me that means they could burn 3 in 1 year at their discretion. And so I was thinking something more like I was thinking, oh, and I like the idea because I was thinking more over 12 years but less over 1 year. So I was thinking something like, and I'm stealing a part of your idea because I hadn't thought of it yet, is a limit of 1 in any given school year and 3, well, I was actually thinking more, but since you can appeal, 1 over any school year and 3 over the course, but you can appeal so that if something does come up, then we can cover that so that it's not, well, I'm going to take them out 3 times in their 3rd grade year.
Oh, that was my intention was to, that you should only be allowed to take 1 independent study per year, which I believe is.
Is that what, I'm sorry.
Is that in here?
Does the policy, because I just read 3 over the course, I didn't read 1 in a given year, but maybe I missed it.
I am not 100% sure if there's a limitation on the one over 1 per year. It's not written in there, so that's what I was said is, I don't think there's anything written either way. Would it please the board if I have staff take some of this feedback and come back and put it into a form and maybe bring some research with it and a couple of models, and then you guys can have a further discussion?
Doc, I actually have a completely unrelated question on the policy. But
I just want to say that I don't disagree with anything that's been said up here. My only concern is that we put a limit that doesn't work for some people. And while I understand that missing school and having the independent study is not as good as being at school, I have to feel it has to be better than missing school and not having even if it's just review work, not having access to that. And from a fiscal standpoint, as Trustee Lampel kind of alluded to, we don't get ADA for them if they're unexcused absences, so.
Yeah, I just want to see us do something that's going to limit the independent studies that our teachers have to put so much work into that will come back, half of them undone when they've been at Disney.
So my completely unrelated question to the number of times cap, I'm not sure I understood, and I apologize, I neglected to email my questions beforehand. I'm not sure I understand the phrase, no more than 10% of the students enrolled, blah, 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 shall be enrolled in independent study. So.
Do you want?
I'm sorry, I'm on page 2, it's actually numerous times it says it, but on page 204 of the packet, I wasn't sure I understood what that meant. 204 towards the bottom of the page, like 3rd paragraph from the bottom.
Mr. Harrison.
So the code states that you cannot have more than 10% of your student population on independent study.
At any given time?
Correct. It applies both to short-term and long-term.
And is that district-wide or per
Sounds like it's static.
classroom or?
My experience is that it's a 10% of your overall population, which we don't reach. Most districts don't reach.
You know, I knew that intuitively, or I thought I was like, okay, we're never going to hit the 10%. But then part of me said, well, what happens if we do? It's like first come, first serve. How do you decide that? And is it first come, first serve? Is that what it is? Okay.
But that includes our independent study program at the high school, right?
Are you guys a charter? Or are you straight independent study? Yeah. Yes.
So that would not, the 10%, your numbers would not be included in that, so we'll never hit 10%.
No.
Well, I
And
think it would be.
these are short stints, so it's 10% at a time, so. Fine.
Okay.
And I think with virtually any kind of a limit, whether it was 3 or 5 or even 10 instances, I don't think we'd ever hit 10% because there's not enough time available to have that large of a percentage out.
I wasn't disagreeing. I just wanted to make sure I understood what exactly that meant.
That is one of the areas that the auditors do test, the percentage, and we have to report the independent study separately. And for our district, it's about 10 ADA, which is not 10% over total population.
Okay.
So we have 10 ADA over
Earned.
a whole school year going out on short-term independent
That is
studies?
correct.
Just 10 kids?
10 ADA, not 10 kids. They earn up to 10 average daily attendance between all
Okay.
of them collectively.
We don't know a raw number, do we?
No, I do not have
Approximately?
a raw
Okay,
number.
Just curious, it doesn't matter.
Just a question for staff. I realized that there was no research behind the research, as you stated, but when staff went back, what do you guys have now as far as what other districts are doing? Do you have anything?
So I know that there were a number of districts that were looked into, Fremont being the kind of the cornerstone basis for the decision of 3. And what I know about what Fremont was doing is that they were concerned about abuse and families going on vacation, so they put a strict limitation on it. What I was hoping to find from last year's collection of work that led to that was going to be more information, but when we tried to find what was left, and there was not much left, other than some notes that really didn't inform us very well.
I'm going to ask a question, and you can rein it in, I guess. How much staff work would it be to survey a dozen or a couple dozen districts and see what is out there, what other districts are doing?
It wouldn't be cumbersome. I mean, it would be about a matter of calling CWA offices and asking the question. That's typically what we do when we bring a recommendation is, it wouldn't necessarily be a dozen, but I think if you get 5 that are, similar like districts or regional, you get a good sense of what people are doing. And you can ask the question, well, why did you choose this number? And I would predict that most often you'll hear, well, we've always done it this way. But I know that in our community, we do have some families that go out of country, and so that could become a concern over time if those numbers went up.
And I taught in Fremont, and that was exactly what was happening. We had a lot of families going out of the country and extending winter break, and that's when most of the independent studies were.
And I would say that out of the traveling, in my previous experience in Stockton, you had a lot of migrant families that were following the work. I don't believe that is, in fact, the case here. So it wouldn't be related to that.
And I will say that I also like Trustee Goodrich's recommendation as a possible solution, and for all the reasons that were stated, and also because a requirement for this independent study program is that it's not less than 5 days and no more than 10. That's a long time.
It sure
So-
is. It's a lot of instruction to miss.
All right. Thank you. Item 13, calendar, Thursday, May 3rd, DLAC meeting at Lammersville School at 6:30. Wednesday, the 16th is a Safety Committee meeting at 3:30. Wednesday, the 16th is our next regular governing board meeting. Thursday, the 17th is the next facilities meeting here at 6:30. Monday, June 4th is the District Advisory Committee at 6:30. Wednesday, June 6th is the following governing board meeting. Monday, June 18th is a special board meeting here at 6:30. And Wednesday, June 20th is another governing board meeting. In just a moment, we will be adjourning to closed session where we will discuss public employee discipline, dismissal, release, and complaint, conference with labor negotiators, and conference with real property negotiators.
Move to adjourn to closed session.
Second.
You got me.
I think Sharon got you.
She
All
did.
in favor?
Aye.
We are now adjourned to closed session. Thank you, everyone.
Good luck on your exam, Simran.